With the holiday season in full swing, it was the end of August when Max Payne and John Berry, in the Arthur Huff Pressing's Ark Racing Lotus Elans, appeared together for only the second time for the 10th round of the BRSCC Motorsports Championship at Mallory Park. The championship now being led by Dave Mercer. The engine of John's car had been rebuilt by Phil Marks. The car, using new compomotive wheels fitted with Goodyear Formula One tyres at the rear, had enabled him to take outright wins at Croft and Oulton Park in the last 2 weeks, the car now performing better than ever. While Max Payne's car had gone through an extensive test programme on engines and tyres at Silverstone and Donington since its last outing. John Berry continued his successful run when he set up fastest lap in practice of 49.8 seconds, just inside the class lap record, and over half a second quicker than John Fletcher's similar car, who in turn is 1.4 seconds quicker than Paul Berman, who will complete a front row of Elans. Max Payne setting up 7th fastest time behind the Davrians of John Kirk and Pat Longhurst and the Elan of Dave Mercer. Between practice and race, John Berry supervises over lunch for his mechanics, while Mike Donovan and Peter Riching work on the engine of their midget in an attempt to rectify engine problems. Peter Riching, who is driving today, can only record a time over 4 seconds slower than class leader Keith Ashby, who offers advice on the engine problems. John Fletcher's Elan has been given a new coat of paint and looks smarter than for many years, as John had had the honour of representing motorsports racing in a parade of cars at the recent British Grand Prix. The race promises a tremendous battle in the small class, with 5 Davrians being entered, but only 3 appear, with Pat Longhurst having to uphold English honours with his Mark 7 version, against the Scottish pair of John Kirk, who records 4th fastest time, 0.4 of a second quicker than Longhurst in his red Mark 5 Davrian, while the white car of Brian Stevenson is 5 seconds slower. Much of the success of the BRSCC Midlands Centre meetings is due to the work of Area Secretary Ron Overend and his wife Edwina, who is Secretary of the meeting. John Berry takes his Elan into an immediate lead, ahead of the similar cars of Fletcher and Berman, with only Pat Longhurst breaking up a complete Elan domination ahead of Mercer and Payne. Fletcher forces his way past Berry under braking for the hairpin on lap 2, while John Kirk and the Jaguar of Richard Gamble move ahead of Max Payne. With 2 laps to go, Max Payne coasts into the pits, while Berry continues to challenge Fletcher. Round the hairpin for the last time, John Berry retakes the lead from Fletcher, under braking, only to receive a punt in the rear end and spin amid a cloud of smoke, leaving Fletcher to take a victory in a battle-scarred car, while an annoyed John Berry recovers to take second place. Both drivers sharing fastest lap in the race, with Paul Berman completing an Elan hat-trick in third place. With another race at Thruxton tomorrow, Gordon Schofield soon sets to work sorting out the front of John Fletcher's Elan, while Derek Matthews will have to fit a new gear lever to Max Payne's car, the broken gear lever being the cause of his retirement. Everyone's problems were sorted out before Thruxton, where John Berry gained revenge over Fletcher by winning his class and setting up fastest lap for the race, in finishing second to Mike Franey's Porsche. John Fletcher finishing third, while Max Payne took third place in his class and 7th overall. The following Sunday, Max Payne's Elan returned to Mallory Park for a non-championship motorsports race, and in showery conditions, Max recorded fastest practice lap, with a time nearly a second quicker than on his last outing at the circuit. The car, still running with the 1650cc engine, built by Derek Matthews and Bob Eccles. Max's nearest challenger in the up to 2 litre class is a new Elan, driven by former midget driver Richard Ward, but his practice time is 5 seconds slower. Second fastest in practice is local Nottingham driver John Oxborough with his 4.4 litre E-Type Jaguar. While completing the front row of the grid will be Paul Hayward Halfpenny with his Hillman Imp. Because of a shortage of entries, the races for up to 1000cc special saloons and modified sports cars will be run concurrently. The Imp takes an immediate lead, with Max just holding off the Jaguar to lead the Motorsports race. As the race progresses, Max fights off Oxborough's challenge to close in on the saloon, failing to catch Paul Hayward-Outney by 0.2 of a second at the checkered flag. But Max records his first motorsports victory of the season with his new car. Both drivers receiving garlands from Secretary of the meeting Edwina Overend. Oxborough finishing third and winning his class, while fourth overall and winner of the small motorsports class is John Digby with the ex-Simon Packford Davrian. After the race, in which Max has probably driven his Elan harder than at any previous occasion, Derek Matthews takes the opportunity of checking the temperature of the tyres to see if the suspension is working correctly. Early Saturday morning, the 10th of September, sees the Elan of Max Payne leaving the Willenhall workshops of Ark Racing for the 90-mile trip up the motorway to Ainslie, where it will join the Elan of John Berry, who surprisingly, as he only works 15 miles away at Southport, is making his first ever visit to the friendly Liverpool circuit, where he will renew his rivalry with fellow Elan driver John Fletcher, who has been a regular and popular competitor at the circuit for many years. With the country's two leading Elan drivers present, Max cannot really expect any improvement over his last visit to the circuit, but with the rain pouring down and the rain tyres fitted, Max can expect to be nearer to the pair than usual. The rain continues during practice, as John Fletcher sets fastest time just 0.2 of a second faster than Max Payne, with John Berry a further 0.2 seconds slower as third fastest. His time being set in only 5 laps, as he is forced into the pits with a broken exhaust pipe, to be joined by other cars, many suffering with wet electrics.